Hey guys, welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid and your beautiful sunny morning ramble. It's beautiful and sunny this morning, but it is in the 30s. It's very cold. I've been out here cutting firewood for a while. I apologize for a late ramble today. I wasn't going to make this ramble because, as you know, if you follow the channel, you're here every morning. I talk about whatever I feel I have been, whatever I'm inspired to talk about. Sometimes it makes a lot of sense, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's profound, sometimes it's simple. But all morning, the message I've just been kind of receiving is to talk to you about the birds. And this green bulb was just added to our little wildlife refuge Christmas tree we're setting up back here between now and Christmas. This bulb is for the birds. This feed is for the birds. I'm going to be leaving this on top of a log pile. I'm up here at the campground, but I'm like behind where I usually do it because I wanted to show you the new bulb. Since it's green, I was afraid you wouldn't be able to see it if I was too far away because the tree's green. It's very good at camouflaging itself into trees like I am on my hikes. So anyway, I'm not leaving the seed until I leave the area because, as you know, my kitty cat Cleopatra follows me up here most of the time and sits on my lap a lot of times while I do these rambles. I want to make sure she's not up here. I mean, I don't want to lure these birds off to their death. But anyway, it's in the 30s, very cold. I'm out here getting ready to go over to a wonderful neighbor's house and get some more firewood they're giving me from trees that have fallen down. I'm surrounded by birds right now. I think they see me doing this. We feed them around the house. I'm going to start feeding them up here too. But guys, listen, I'm being completely sincere with this. This is not a joke. I would like to make a request, which, as you know, I rarely do. I ask you to keep people in your thoughts and prayers and all this stuff. I'm asking you to please help the birds this winter. As you know, here on this channel, we don't charge membership subscription fees. We don't do Patreon. We don't e-beg with GoFundMe. We don't set up P.O. boxes and say, oh, we need this, oh, we need that. And many of you have very politely offered to send us stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We know your heart's in the right place. You're not trying to be manipulative, but that's just not how we roll. We are very stringent in regard to taking care of our own and having the utmost respect for others who do the same. That's just how we roll. With that said, if you feel like you want to contribute to what we've got going on here at this channel, contribute to somebody that's very important and special to us, and that's the birds this winter, or any other form of wildlife. Or maybe it's that stray alley cat that you know is starving and hungry and it's cold outside, bring it in. If you have your own pets, if you have dogs, cats, and you know it's getting cold outside, please bring them in. Guys, and you know, one of our subscribers, I've given her so many shout outs. I'm gonna give her another one. Her name's Cat Hill. She commented on the video I made the other day about the craziest big buck story you'll probably ever hear, in which I came to an agreement with that large 8-point buck that lives here on the homestead named Davy Crockett. I've named him Davy Crockett. We've got this agreement about how, you know, he's only going to tear up certain trees. I showed him where the other property boundary was, so he's effectively marked that, and he has still effectively kept that spike buck out of his turf that was coming in and giving him some competition, and he has effectively left the rest of my trees alone. So far it's win-win. I see Davy Crockett almost every day. He just looks at me while I'm looking at him. I keep chopping wood. He keeps chasing his 7 or 8 girlfriends and eating my grass now instead of rubbing up my trees with his antlers. But Kat said in that comment about how, and so many other people did too, they talked about how they know without doubt there is some sort of synergy between humans and animals if we allow it, if we open ourselves up. You know, I don't know how to describe it, but what I can tell you, and I think this is what she said, that I probably found that Davy Crockett is more honorable or commendable in regard to keeping his word than most people. Yes, Kat, I agree. I don't know how to explain whatever communication there is between animals and people, but yes, I will tell you that. And you know, a lot of dog lovers watching this video. A lot of you have dogs. A lot of you like dogs more than people. The older I get, the more experiences I gain, the more fond I am of animals than most people. I mean, that sounds cold and that sounds callous, but that's just the truth. So all morning I'm racking my brains, you know, what do I talk about in the morning ramble? And I'm watching the birds outside the window. I'm out here working on firewood or getting my tools ready to go work on the firewood. What am I going to talk about in the morning ramble? And I'm looking over into the garden, looking at Virg-Lo, and Virg is short for Virginia, she told us, and I told her how ironic is that we're in Virginia. But Virg's, her bird roosting box we dedicated to her on her birthday last week that we put in her garden is being used. As a matter of fact, the green bulb I brought up to dedicate to the birds on our wildlife refuge Christmas tree here, I got out of our garden where we had hung some of these bulbs to keep the birds away from the tomatoes, and an entire flock of birds I didn't even know was there flew away out of the garden when I stepped into the garden. And so I went into Virg's birdhouse and I looked up in the crack, and there are indeed droppings, bird droppings inside the box. So they are using the roosting box. So, you know, we're not asking you to go out and buy birdhouses. We're not asking you to buy bird roosting boxes. We're not asking you to do anything. And we're only asking that you feed the birds if you yourself are eating. Don't take money away from your mouth to put into theirs, okay? Don't be silly. But a lot of folks say, oh, I want to send you this, I want to send you that. No, thank you, but give it to those who really need it much more than we do. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, about kind of if you want to help us, if you want to help these beautiful little creatures who, you know, I did a lot of research last year and made a video on how they stay warm in the winter, because I was wondering, how do these little tiny birds stay warm? I was looking out the window and it was like 20 degrees and they were out there eating at the bird feeder and they seemed to be just perfectly fine. And it was fascinating to find out about these guys. A lot of you have chickens and you already know this, but what they do, okay, 2 ways they stay warm. Number one, calories. They need food. During the winter, if birds are awake, they are eating, and they must eat at all times to convert those calories to heat energy. They have an extremely high metabolism, and they have to stay warm and stay alive. So that's another reason we're asking you to please feed the birds if you can affordably, and if you can safely, as long as you don't have like 15 cats. And then number two, they form air pockets with their feathers. They have a way of puffing their feathers out and actually forming pockets inside the feathers. And as their body heat comes off of them, off of their body or off of their skin, their feathers actually work as a form of insulation to hold that heat so that it stays between their skin and that feather. And then they alternate standing on one leg. When you see them perched on a branch, they're usually perched on one leg. The other leg is tucked up inside their feathers, staying warm. As the other leg gets too cold for their comfort, they'll put down the warm leg and put the cold leg up into their feathers and warm that one. Very fascinating process they have going on to stay warm in the weather, or to stay warm in the winter and the cold weather. But it all starts with that first most important aspect of them being able to stay warm, and that is calories. So please, if you can, this winter, do them a favor, do the little guys a favor. It goes without saying, though some people, I guess, need to hear it, to bring in your cats, your dogs, your other pets when it gets cold. But these little birds, as you know, we can't bring them inside. They need their calories to stay warm. Please help us help these little guys. And if you can, give them a bite to eat this winter. So I know this was short and sweet, but guys, that's what was on my mind. And I've just never made it a habit of making anything up to come up here and ramble on and on about something for the sake of rambling. I talk about what I feel inspired to talk about, whatever power is out there, or power that greater than myself is kind of telling me to talk about. And today was just the birds and the cold weather. So thanks for joining us for another morning ramble. And I'm going to give you a beautiful parting shot of the homestead. Then I'm going to lay out this bird seed on top of these logs here, or around them. Miss Cleopatra's not up here. Then I'm going to go cut some more firewood so that I can stay warm this winter. Thanks for being here with us at Homesteading Off the Grid, and we'll see you guys next time.